Association Summer Tour on ESPN is being brought to you by True Value Hardware. It's more than our name, it's our way of doing business. By Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by the good time, great taste of McDonald's. Welcome to beautiful Golden Pin Lanes in sunny Tucson, Arizona for the championship round finals of the $140,000 Miller Lite Challenge. Now let's meet the finalists for tonight's championship round. Starting from the number 5 position, it's 29-year-old Kent Wagner in search of his 3rd career PBA title. His opponent in the opening game is 15-year veteran Pete McCordic out of Houston, Texas. Making his 2nd consecutive appearance in the championship round is Venezuela's Amleto Monacelli. The only left-hander on tonight's telecast, Joe Salvemini, will need to win just 1 game in order to bowl for his 3rd PBA championship. And, of course, on top of the 160-man field this week is the 1986 PBA Player of the Year, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Hi, everybody. I'm Denny Schreiner, and welcome to Tucson, Arizona, the site of the oldest summer PBA Tour stop. 27 years now the professionals have been coming to Tucson, and back in 1982, my partner Mike Durbin had a very special week here in Tucson, Arizona. He, of course, captured the championship. Now, we've talked about how grueling it is to bowl 42 games and then get to the championship round. And really, the story tonight is the right-handed thumb of Amleto Monacelli.
You're certainly right, Denny. In the 27 years that the professional bowlers have been on television of one form or another, there's never been a time when a contestant failed to bowl his scheduled match. But tonight may be the first time, Denny, as Amleto Monacelli last night told me he couldn't sleep because he had a little heart in his thumb, and I told him that that was throbbing. The pain was so bad, he went this morning to a doctor. He had it lanced, drained, no stitches, but he's still in pain. He's going to patch that thumb that we saw up, open the thumb hole up, and see if he can bowl.
Well, we've talked about what a talented cast we have on the show this evening. We've got Pete McCordic. He's bowling super. Amleto Monacelli, obviously on a hot streak. And at the top, perhaps the best clutch player on the tour, Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
I certainly think you're right. It's amazing to look at Pete McCordic now. He's bowling with just so much more confidence. He shot just a different bowler. He doesn't have any more talent. He's just bowling with more confidence. Amleto Monacelli, one of the best athletes we have on the PBA Tour. He is red hot right now. We'll have to see if his thumb can last. And, of course, Walter Ray Williams, Jr., you can count on one thing. If he needs a double in the 10th frame to win this title, my money's on him to get it.
And, of course, if you're interested in dark horses, there's Kent Wagner and Joe Salvemini. So stay tuned. $23,000 on top, and the winner will take home a big check this evening. Coming up in the opening match, it's Kent Wagner and tour veteran Pete McCordic. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Tucson, Arizona, Golden Pin Lanes, championship round finals of the $140,000 Miller Lite Challenge. Kent Wagner opens things up. Lanes 15 and 16, the championship pair.
Yeah, seems like this pair that's 16 is hooking more than 15 for the right-handed bowlers. And they've been leaving a lot of...
A familiar scenario. The professionals, I think, throughout most of the week have had an opportunity to hit the pocket. Our commentary was going out over the house PBA for the first. It really wasn't our fault. It's always something, isn't it, Mike? McCordic opens up on lane 16. Boy, has he bowled well the last year and a half.
I was watching these two guys in practice, and of all 5 players, they were just striking at will. These two, I expect a very high-scoring match this first match.
Pete McCordic overall 13 and 11 in match play, and it was difficult to win here this week. Of course, he won his last 8 matches last night just to qualify here for the championship round finals.
I think he had close to high pinfall after 16 games and only won 5 matches.
So a little shaker for McCordic on the left-hand lane, and he opens up with a double and leads by 10. Kent Wagner, 16, 7, and 1 in match play, and he posted the best record of our 5 television finalists.
Oh, right through the heart. The 4-6, 7-9. Just a little soft on this right-hand lane that we said was hooking more. Ball hooks too quickly, right through the heart of the pins. No break. He's going to go for the 2 on the right and hope something bounces around back there. Oh, and he chopped it off. It cost him 2 more. No, it cost him 1 pin.
A wry smile there from Kent, who realizes that you don't want to get behind McCordic these days. Pete McCordic, since he shot the big 300 game and won the $100,000 award from True Value Hardware, his last 3 games, he shot 748. And there you see Kent Wagner's wife, Lisa Wagner, the current U.S. Open champion. She's aware of how well Pete McCordic has been bowling as of late. Excellent. Breathes a sigh of relief, and he'll have to double his next opportunity.
Boy, it's just perfect. That confidence, I told you. Bowlers are playing right around the 8th, 9th board. Pete is hooking the ball just a little bit more than Kent Wagner. Wagner throws a little bit harder and straighter. Pete has that softer speed and a little bit of a loop. Kind of classifying Peter, I think he's sort of a tweener that we talked about a few weeks ago.
It did not bowl particularly well last week in Seattle, so after missing the cut, flew home to Houston for 3 days and worked on some fundamentals and came back strong and said he was ready to play this week.
Here it comes. Ooh, too hard. Got just a little softer yet with that speed, the 3-6, 7-10. Very makeable split. You want to play it just like you would the baby split. Hit that 3 pin on the right, bounce it over into the 7. The ball takes out the 6-10. We see that speed. He was right on line. The speed was just softer. And right through the heart of the pins, and there's the result.
So McCordic's first mistake. Flattens the wrist out a little bit and doesn't quite get the job done. So McCordic opens up in the 4th, and that's a break. As far as Kent Wagner is concerned, he now trails by 21, but if he strikes coming back, well, the tables may turn. Good graphic look at how these 5 gentlemen finally arrived here in the championship round this evening. Kent Wagner started 43rd, so he had an uphill battle all the way. Look at that. Walter Ray never lower than 5th at any time this week.
And both Amleto and Kent Wagner are as high as they've been in the tournament right there at this point. So they like to move a little higher and keep that graphic in tune.
Kent Wagner trails by 21, but could cut the lead to 11. He strikes here in the 4th.
A little more speed, probably moved the board left on the approach with his feet. There's the result.
Well, he needed a big game last night against Brian Voss in the position round game, and he came up with it, and here's the reason why.
4 steps, gets the ball down real quick, the ball well out on the lane, very little hook. When he first came out on the tour, he used to hook the ball quite a bit. He's gone to a much straighter shot now than he did before.
It's kind of amazing. The longer the players stay out here, the straighter their ball gets, right?
And there seems to be a direct proportion there, yes.
Of course, you never hooked the ball when you were out here, did you?
Well, of course, never,
Yeah.
no.
You just got straighter. Well, right back in the pocket on the left-hand lane, and so Wagner bounces back, but any good professional worth his salt will do that.
It's amazing when you get that open, your opponent always seems to get that double and take advantage of it.
As I mentioned last night, Kent was trailing Brian Voss late in that position round game. Voss missed the 10 pin, and then Wagner jumped all over the opportunity.
Peter, the same line as Wagner, just softer speed and a board or 2 more head belly.
Boy, they turn out each and every year here in Tucson to watch the professionals. The 27th year that the pros have stopped here in Tucson. Crowds get bigger every year.
It's always been one of my favorite spots.
Well, you won here in 82, and you were top seed in 85.
Had a couple other good finishes, too.
Yep.
Amazing. We're sitting right behind Pete McCordic and Kent Wagner on lane 15. On that shot, he threw it firmer but actually hit about the 9th board. The last shot that went high circled out to the 7th board and what we call overreacted and went high. Cross lane at the 10 pin. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Well, the moment it left his hand, he realized that that one was going to be left to the target.
Just careless. I think it's just concentration more than anything else. He switched balls. He changed balls to one that goes straighter, and there he just dumped it left. Just not a good shot at all.
And before the wrap, on the right-hand lane for a strike. If you blink more than once, Wagner's gone. But that's his trademark.
But he gets a lot of strikes.
Actually, he could be tabbed the Lanny Watkins of the PBA Tour.
As far as speed, yes, he could. Yeah.
He's in a hurry most of the time.
If he goes all the way up tonight, you and I may have a lot of time at the end of this.
We're going to chat for a good half an hour.
A little more room. And doesn't make it back to 2-4-5.
As he slaps himself in the forehead. He really does enjoy bowling. He's one of the funnier guys out here. Right in the middle of last night's position round game, he was under a lot of pressure trying to beat Boston. He was tight as a drum, and Lisa, his wife, yelled a couple things at him, and Kent smiled, and he bowled great after that.
At the 2-4-5, no trouble.
No problem, Kent Wagner says, and he has taken over the lead here by 18 pins. So how quickly things change, especially in Tucson. We'll be back with the conclusion right after.
The world's greatest golfers deliver heart-stopping thrills at the British Open. See live coverage of this Grand Slam event beginning July 14th on the ESPN.
Mike Durbin with Denny Schreiner back at Golden Pin Lanes, and here's a view of Kent Wagner on the right, Pete McCordic on the left. Both four-step players. Notice the difference in the push away. Wagner down right away, where McCordic is more traditional, pushing it out on that table. They get to the third step. Wagner a little bit early, with McCordic in perfect position right there. Wagner pulls it through with no slide. McCordic a nice long slide. Stiff leg for Wagner, bent leg for McCordic.
Look at this prize list here. It's part of $140,000 total, 23 on top, and just for fifth place, $5,000.
Choose one to pick. You know, I picked McCordic in a heartbeat, and he's losing.
A lot of different ways to do it. McCordic tries to bounce back on the right lane. It's a late 8-pin, but it falls nevertheless.
18 pins behind at this point then. We bowled 7 frames, and Pete hasn't had a spare yet, and he doesn't want one right now in the 8th frame because he needs a strike in a big way.
Excellent shot on the left-hand lane the last trip, leaving the solid 10, but then the air.
Pete can throw strikes, and he can throw them in the 8th, 9th, and 10th frame. Oh, the tender touch.
Well, you don't win $156,000 in any season unless you carry this hit right here.
Watch the 6-pin. Second from the right. Goes to the sideboard and just nudges the 10. And he's watching it and says, get it. All right.
Ball is in the other court.
Oh, he says hold, and it did. The speed held that ball in there.
It never ceases to amaze me when you get down to the late stages of these matches, especially the nationally televised finals, how that concentration peaks.
Usually really like this, the speed goes up just a little bit and the line gets tighter. McCordic throws that same shot. Oh, he made just a perfect shot. His hand there, he's demonstrating what the ball did. I don't know.
You heard him say carry, and that's the call of the PBA Tour veteran, carry. That means, come on, 10-pin, fall down. It didn't quite happen.
Cross lane at the 10-pin. 8 pins ahead. Needs to make this to maintain that lead. Uh-oh. Well, he's got it.
So 220, the best possible score that Wagner could shoot if he would strike out on the 10th, but McCordic really now is
right lane so far. This is to take the lead. sigh of relief there because that ball held. He wasn't sure whether that was. He was about a board left of target with that, and the ball held. He's right around the 9th board. That's where his target is. Saying hold, and it just barely did. Yes. Head by 2 can increase it to 12. One more right here. He's been in this position several times lately and has come through every time. Oh, he smacked his hands. He said yes, and it left that 10-pin.
Excellent shot by McCordic, and the fans appreciate the effort, but kind of leaves this one hanging in the air at this stage.
A tie is a definite possibility.
A solid 10s on the left-hand lane. The difference.
Looking for his first spare, and he says, all right, I got it. Interesting. Pete chose to finish on the left lane, and he only got 2 strikes on that lane and 5 on the right lane.
Could the lanes change that fast in between when they select him and when they start the first game?
They can. Yes, they can.
But you're right. The right-hand lane split is perfect.
Foul ball's a big shot. Forces Wagner to get 2 strikes if he can strike on this ball. Another solid 10. Just 2 pretty shots. 2-10, which still makes Wagner strike twice to win. But if he goes strike spare, we could have a tie.
And last year on ESPN, the Austin Open, he needed 3 strikes to beat Philip Ringner.
And got them all.
Yep.
He must strike on this shot, though.
Come on, Carey.
Come on, Carey, you hurt him.
Well, there's the first one. He's taking a little more time now than he normally does.
Yeah, it's 2 heartbeats instead of 1, yeah.
Collect the thoughts here. Lisa, I think having as tough a time with this one as Kent does.
What did she say? Could you read her lips there?
No, I couldn't. If you read her mind, though, it would be, honey, we need 1 more strike here.
This is for the win. 4-pin, he makes this, and it's a tie. We have a tie match, which, Denny, that means it'll be a 2-frame roll-up. What will happen is Pete McCordic will get up on lane 15 and bowl what would be the same as the 9th frame of the game. Wagner will then get up on 16, bowl the 9th frame on lane 16, and then the 10th frame on lane 15. A total possible score of 60. It's a tie.
Oh, our first tie of the summer tour. That's always nice. So McCordic will start on the left-hand lane?
That's correct. McCordic is going to bowl his 9th frame right now. It's the same as the 9th and 10th frame of a regulation game. 2-frame roll-up. Kenny Carey.
Well, McCordic's familiar with the overtime format because in Windsor Locks this past winter, he tied Tony Westlake 237 apiece and had to go into overtime and lost 60-50. In other words, Westlake went right off the sheet.
Perfect shot. Boy, was that pretty.
This could go on all night.
Come on, 1 more, she said. Now I can read those lips.
And Kent keeps saying, what do you mean 1 more? I've already thrown 2 here. Well, this is what it's all about on the PBA Tour.
That's the cry of the pro bowler or any bowler forever.
Sure.
1 more.
They love to bowl under pressure, too. I think they enjoy that probably more than anything else.
Here it comes. Oh, another ring. How many have we had on that left lane?
Well, you're so defenseless against that. That's why bowler.
That dry area. Here it comes. Watch the 6-pin. Second on the right. It never was close to the 10. Went right around. And there's the reaction. He smacks himself in the head again. At the 10-pin. No trouble. He needs to fill a strike to wind up with 40. That will make McCordic strike the first ball in the 10th to win the match. And McCordic knows it. And remember, McCordic has not missed the right-hand lane yet. bad count. 38 he winds up with. Now McCordic filled 19 pins in the 10th frame.
So a little bit of a mental letdown there for Kent Wagner. It's given McCordic a tremendous opportunity here to advance into game number 2.
Here it comes. Perfect.
Well, you can't say it enough. McCordic in the last year and a half has just turned his whole psychological approach 360 degrees.
It's just amazing what that belief in yourself will do. Just hoping I can strike. I know I can strike.
Well, that's the icing on the cake, and Kent Wagner realizes that his week in Tucson has come to a screeching halt, but not before he took McCordic at least into overtime. And we'll take a break right now because McCordic has won the sudden death roll-off. Kent Wagner wins $5,000, but as far as McCordic is concerned, he'll head on now to play Amleto Monacelli, and that, of course, is coming up in just a couple of...
ESPN Sports Center, America's sports authority.
Scores were of the medium nature this week at Golden Pin Lanes in Tucson. The left-handers out-averaged the right-handers by 3 sticks. You needed to average 209 just to get a check this week.
215 to make our top 24. I think the big improvement is the left-handers bowled a lot better this week now. Some of our high series here, Jimmy Keith, who can throw strikes at will sometimes, 775. Dave Arnold, Parker Bone had 299. 38 games over 200, Joe Salvemini.
And you take a look at the other finishers. Brian Voss came very close. This was a big tournament here for him because of the Miller Lite points. But Troy Kendrick almost made a telecast. Mark Baker, the big guy, was there for a while but faded in the last 8 games.
Parker Bone made a rush. A little bit short. Tommy Loskow coming back. Some of the others, Bob Hanley, Hook and Bob, Roger Bowker, Tony Westlake always there. Jim Pensack back again. Rod Pasteur, lefty Eric Forkel, another lefty Tony Marisi, Matt Ballard in his first finals, Brad Rosley. And Frank Allenberg finished 47th, and Frank is going to be leaving us after this week.
Of course, Frank working in the truck, helping us with the graphics and all the figures, and so we'll wish him a big summer teaching all the kids. All right, let's take a look now at the average builder with Mike Durbin, and Mike's going to talk about the proper slide.
The topic of tonight's tip is the final step of the approach, or the slide. One of the first questions that comes to my mind when I think of the slide is it really? I think the answer to that is no, it really isn't. There are just far too many bowlers on the PBA Tour today that do what we call plant and don't slide at all, and they score very well. Kent Wagner on tonight's telecast is just one example. And it's not just the modern-day bowler. Bowlers of yesterday didn't slide either. Pete Tautist, our host here in Tucson, never slid an inch. And the bowler who won the first PBA tournament, Lou Campy, was known as Wrong Foot Lou because he wound up on his right foot, bocce style, and he didn't slide at all either. Well, if it's not necessary to slide to score, should I do it? Well, I want you to know that I definitely recommend that you slide, and for a couple of very important reasons. The first reason is that bowling is a lifetime sport. It's something I can do from the time I'm 5 until I'm 95, if I make it that far. But if I'm continually planting that left foot, if I'm a right-handed bowler, at the foul line time after time, it takes a jarring on my knee, and it's going to take a physical toll. And sooner or later, there's going to be some physical problems that could prevent me from bowling down the road. The second reason that I think it's very important to put a slide into your approach is that as I slide, I let go of the ball. Remember we talked about the release a couple weeks ago, when I let go of the ball and the thumb comes out and the fingers lift, this happens during the slide when I'm sliding right here. And the longer the slide, the more time it gives me to make this clean release with the heavy fingers. I think the best example of this is Marshall Holman. Marshall throws one of the most powerful balls in the history of the PBA. And he lets go of the ball right in the middle of the slide. In fact, Marshall keeps on sliding after the ball is already going down the lane. He's the only bowler I know of in the PBA that does that. Well, how do I incorporate a good slide into my approach. I think I can give you a foolproof method to do it. As we reach the next to the last step in the approach, I'm at the peak of my backswing, and if I'm right-handed, my right knee is bent, and I'm ready to go into my slide. Now, what most of us do at this point, as the left foot is on the ground here, is we pick it up and go into the slide this way, and sometimes we do what we call short slide, especially if I put the heel down. The heel is rubber, and it can cause me to stop very quickly. A lot of times this happens in pressure situations. Well, what I recommend that you do so that that doesn't happen to you is, as I'm at the next to the last step, the left foot is still on the ground, I don't lift it up. I push that toe all the way through toward the foul line, and I push it straight, just like this. Now, I may want to turn it a little bit this way. The reason for that is to keep me square at the foul line. If I turn the toe this way, then the left shoulder gets turned this way, and the ball can go offline. Doesn't mean I can't bowl, it just makes it a little bit tougher. Well, let's see what it looks like when I take the approach, and if I can practice what I preach here. Now, as I set up, remember we talked in weeks past about thinking of right hand, right heel together. And I'm going to think that, but I'm also working on the slide now. So I'm at this point thinking of pushing that toe forward at the end of the approach. And let's see if I can do it here. There you have it. See, the knee was bent, I was imbalanced, the foot was turned a little bit for squareness. It really isn't that hard to develop a good, consistent slide for yourself. All you need to think about is pushing that toe forward at the next to the last step. We'll see you again next week.
And up next, Amleto Monacelli will try his luck against Pete McCordic on ESPN. Today, back at Golden Pin Lanes in Tucson, Arizona, Pete McCordic, after a sudden death overtime victory over Kent Wagner, is now advanced into game number 2 against a hurting Amleto Monacelli.
He's got definitely hurt. That thumb was bleeding. Ooh, an errant shot right through the heart of the pins, leaves only the 610, looks down at the approach and says, was that me or did that lane hook?
A little bit of a letdown mentally from McCordic after the tough opening match?
I think so. Yeah. Peter, though, is an experienced player. I think the letdown will simply be for one shot.
You know, Pete's been involved now in 4 sudden death roll-offs in his career, and that's the first one that he's won.
Well, that's another monkey off his back. He got that tournament victory one off his back.
Yeah, winning in Fresno earlier this spring for the big game, defeating Ray Perez. Perez really pushed him to the wall. He had to go a big double.
That's his thumb before he patched it up. He's patched it up and then practiced since then. And it almost looks worse now, let me tell you. I've seen it. That's ice that he's soaking it in, trying to take some of the pain away. We can't see it, but he'll pull it out of there and you get a look at it a little bit.
Spray with ethyl chloride, right?
Yes,
I do to the baseball player. Might not be a bad idea. That's got to feel just great when your thumb's in that position. Oh, how about the messenger pin as Monacelli carries the 10. I wonder what ouch is in Spanish.
I don't know. I should have asked him that.
Ay, caramba.
He said, yeah, when he came out of the paddock area, he says, well, some white stuff came out of there. I said, Amleto, that's pus. I mean,
oh, jeez. He is really hurt and did not sleep at all last night. But, believe me, it's so often that players on the PBA tour have to bowl with those nagging ailments. The thumb's probably about 2 sizes bigger than it normally would be. He's probably had to open up the thumb hole a little bit.
And it's bleeding. It's bleeding right through the patch. Trying for the double.
Let me ask you this. I chatted with Amleto just before the championship round began, and he intimated to me that he's going to have to throw the ball a little slower because he can't rip it the way he normally does. Will that help his carry, do you think?
It could. I told him suddenly he's a stroker instead of a cranker anymore.
I bet that brought a smile to his face.
Yes, it did.
Well, Pete McCordic's all business on the right-hand lane. Double for Monacelli, so Pete has to step up and strike on the right-hand lane, which he does. Boy, this guy's thrown some classy shots over the last 18 months.
He's just turned into an outstanding player out here. I might mention that, you know, over my career, I've had thumb problems at different times, never in that particular place that Amleto has. I usually get it at the base of the thumb where the callus would wear away, or maybe on top that it would be bleeding. But for the type of money, $23,000 first place, you get that patch on there and say, hey, I'm going to make it through. I only get here so often.
And if you're Amleto, you get here just about every week. Second week in a row for him. McCordic tries to apply some pressure and does. Slap.
Any different, we're sitting right behind again, the same as those other solid 10 hits, but that would carry.
Amleto winning better than $112,000 on the PBA Tour last year.
And he's made $60,000 so far this year. Just left of target all the way, Danny. Didn't give that ball any room. Just a poor shot. Unusual style, open shoulder at the top. I mean, just completely open. Now, he's aiming right at that third arrow, and you can see the ball hit at least a board left. At the 610, has the spare, barely. I can remember, Denny, I crossed with Amleto one tournament a couple years ago. There's his brother, Rodolfo, one of my rabbit players. I crossed with Amleto in a tournament in Grand Prairie a couple years ago, and we were bowling together. We bowled a game, and I struck out in the 10th frame to shoot a score, and I was watching where he was standing and where I was standing. We both bowled a good game. The next game, I had moved by the 10th frame, 5 boards to my left to strike out in the 10th frame to shoot 2-0. He never moved and started with the first 8. Told me something.
Yeah. It was time to retire.
Yes, that's what it told me.
The truth hurts. And so does Amleto's thumb at this point. But he's grinning and bearing in an another break. Actually, the last 2 shots have not been very good, but he's come out unscathed.
He's thrown them like he's suffering a little bit the last 2 shots.
Anybody that's bowled out there from time to time realizes you get a callus or an open callus on your fingers or your thumb. He won't make any excuses, though. Oh, no. This one right by the 2 pin. So a mistake for Amleto, who stares it down. But meanwhile, Pete McCordic now leads by 14, and that was his shot in the 3rd. So he's in a pretty good position. We'll be right back.
Live on ESPN.
And there you see Susie McCordic and Rodolfo Monacelli, and sitting right next to each other. That's got to be a little tough.
Yes,
Rooting, obviously, for the opposite sides, huh?
I don't know that I'd like that situation there.
McCordic working on a double, and now he's got a turkey and a 24-pin lead.
And he's yet to miss the right lane in both games. McCordic with his 4-step approach, shoulder high backswing, good solid finish, follow through straight up. Watch the 6-pin, second from the right, slap that 10 out. His reaction, just another strike. He knows it needs more to get what he wants, and that's a tournament victory.
I think the one thing that you notice about Pete McCordic is the fact that he's the type of player that seems to play within his own abilities. Doesn't try and do anything that he's not capable of.
Plus, he plays within his own emotions. You know, it's not that he doesn't show emotion, but he knows that he wants to win 4 games tonight, and he's got to keep himself under control.
Yeah, it's a long way up that ladder. Joe Salvemini next in line, and then, of course, the top seed, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Monacelli tries to get back on track. Gives it a little room and leaves the half 10. This time the messenger not quite getting the job done.
And you can definitely see that Amleto is really just not lifting the ball like he normally does. It's more of a softer shot, a softer turn without the heavy lift that he normally snaps at the bottom of that arm swing.
He's having an excellent season. This is his 5th appearance in the championship round.
He just barely made the 610 the last time. He's got it. He's got one weakness. It's that he seems to have these mental lapses shooting single pin spares on television, and I've seen him miss a number of them over the years.
Amleto's high game this week, 268. On the television pair, that game's at 226 and 204 for an average of 215.
Percentage hit for a bowler like Amleto, that thin wall shot hit.
Yeah, but last week it wasn't high percentage in the Seattle Open.
That's true, it wasn't. His carry was really horrible there, wasn't it?
Boy, lost in the opening game to Tom Kreit, so it's been 2 straight appearances for Amleto Monacelli, but so far he's come up empty.
Oh, they're all falling now. That's 10 consecutive strikes.
Is there such thing as an Andy Verapapa
on one leg?
Oh,
I'm sure if Andy were still around, he would count it.
What a great bowler he was. What a showman. And this guy's not been too bad the last couple of years. He's really provided us with a lot of thrills. Only the 4th player ever to shoot 300. And then Bob Benoit did it this past winter. Well, doesn't quite get it handled on the left-hand lane, but Susie appreciative of the effort at this stage. Building a big lead here in game number 2.
Almost insurmountable. Amleto, when he comes up in the 7th frame, is in a must-strike situation right now. He's potential 246. McCordic right now is going at 238.
So the cross lane spare, no problem for Mr. McCordic, who now leads by 42 sticks. And so it's up to Amleto to see if he can make a game of it here. We'll be right back. Amleto Monacelli, 7 career 300 games. Can't shoot 300 in this one, but he could really help the cause with a couple of strikes here in the 7th and the 8th. He trails by 42.
Got a strike here, Dan. Best shot of the match and leaves a solid 10. He's in the position on this right lane. When he gives it enough room, the ball breaks back too late and leaves the weak 10. When he gets it left, it goes high. He made it the perfect shot in between there and left the solid
10. This kid just keeps knocking on the door, doesn't he?
Amleto, a 5-step approach, gets it going quickly. Now watch how he turns that shoulder wide open, and the hand turns all the way open at the time. Again, not recommended. Has a nice long slide and snaps. See, the arm is bent at the bottom, not completely straight. Snaps it through. That snap, though, gets that violent reaction, that hook reaction at the back end. And when he gets it going, he just strikes and strikes and strikes.
And also provides wear and tear on the thumb.
Evidently. Of course, Mark Rouse started that 20 years ago or somewhere around there.
Sure.
And Mark's had a lot of imitators over the years.
And he's also had lots of problems with his thumb.
Yes, he has.
He really has. He's bowled with a lot of pain, winning 33 championships. But I guess you pay the price for the extra carry and the extra room out there, huh?
Mark says it's worth the price, all the money he's made.
Yeah.
Amleto says, I'll suffer a little bit for the dollars I'm going to put in my pocket.
Well, Amleto already has earned nearly $400,000. Back to work for Pete McCordic, who leads by 44. So he's not ready to give the victory sign yet, but he's closing in on it.
Well, that's 11 on that right lane.
Well, if you're Joe Salvemini, do you let McCordic finish on the right-hand lane?
No way, but it's interesting because every performer tonight that has the choice has picked to finish on the left lane, which would mean that McCordic would finish on the right lane. But I wouldn't do it unless I couldn't hit the right lane hardly at all. I certainly wouldn't let McCordic finish over there. Just barely crunched the 4-7 out of there.
McCordic was up on his tiptoes, but he didn't have to go to that extent.
Yeah, when you throw it good and then you see it hooking just a little bit quicker than you want to, and you're, no.
Yeah, these professionals try and talk those bowling balls into all sorts of tricks when they're down there about 45 feet.
45, 50 feet, yeah. And then the last word is always carried. Amleto is virtually out of this match. The best he could finish with is 214. McCordic could open twice and get that.
5-pin disappears into the 7. Amleto says, no, thanks, but it's a little late. In the last couple of weeks has bowled brilliantly. It's a shame when you get to that point that you have to pull up lame. And you chatted with him before the show. Will he bowl in Riverside next week?
He doesn't know, but I think it speaks to his character. Just the fact that he, went to all that trouble, got out here and bowled in this pain, and says, hey, I'm going to get out there and do the best I can, and that's what he's done.
Next week, the $130,000 Kessler Classic in Riverside.
Leaves the 2-5. The conversion and strike will wind up with 194. Not one of his better efforts, but there were extenuating circumstances here.
No question. Showed you a nice close-up of that thumb before we started. Let's hope that a couple of days rest and maybe it'll come back. Amleto now with better than 66,000 on the year. Closes with a strike. It's a nice round of applause from the fans, and the true gentleman that he is shakes Pete McCordic's hand and says, keep going, partner.
And the only excitement we have left is, will Pete McCordic get an Andy Varapapa 300 on the right leg?
Well, he had 7 strikes in game number 1. The right-hand lane has been a good one for him. That's 11 in a row.
That's 12.
That's 12?
That's the 12.
Oh, my.
And we should explain to the viewers at home, in case they don't understand, what a Andy Varapapa 300 is. The great bowler, Andy Varapapa, anytime he got 12 strikes in a row, he counted it as a 300 game.
And he had, what, like 85 in his career?
Something like that. Yeah, I think it was 85.
McCordic with a possible 268, and the strikes keep piling up. Right, Alan. I think Pete right now is thinking, now wait a minute.
Let's save
a couple of those for the next couple of games, but oh well, it doesn't happen that way. Well, he's a stern break of smiles.
He'll smile if he wins 2 more games.
I know.
He's got his priorities in order, and his goal is to win another title, and that's what he's thinking about. He knows he's got a great ball reaction, a great shot.
So the saga continues. McCordic throwing 1 strike after another and 268. The big game for McCordic as he disposes of Amleto Monacelli, 194. And coming up next, nice little feature on Pete McCordic. Stay tuned.
Aid Eckert, Walgreens, and other leading stores.
Pete McCordic's previous claim to fame was that he had won more money on the PBA Tour than any other bowler without capturing a title. After 6 frustrating second-place finishes, coming into the 1988 season, it all changed for Pete.
Strikes here, he will not only win the tournament, he'll finish with 9 in a row and take a trip to the Firestone.
Pete McCordic, after 15 years on the Professional Bowlers Tour, 18,000, but more important, that first victory, and it's a credit to Shelley Cox, the general manager here in Spalding, Wathen. It's been a great one, and we hope you enjoyed the match. 258, he has defeated Perez here in California.
The win was just something I didn't think could feel as good as it did. I bowled for 15 years without winning. You finally win a tournament. It was just total ecstasy, total relief, really. I always said I believed I could win a tournament, but after 15 years and you hadn't won, you're getting a little bit older. Maybe you do think, hey, maybe it won't happen. But fortunately, I never let that come into my mind a lot, and I still had the confidence. And it just, fortunately, it happened, and it was the greatest feeling in the world.
The victory in Fresno helped Pete realize a second dream. He qualified for the prestigious Firestone Tournament of Champions. With the monkey now off his back, he talks about his doubts and difficult times.
I thought about giving it up. And it just wasn't fun when you're not bowling good. It's not much fun to bowl out here. So I almost quit. And one of the bowling ball manufacturers talked to me a little bit, and I told him I was having a little bit of financial problems. He said he'd loan me the money to bowl, and I bowled. I finished 8th that week in Seattle and came down here, and I think I made the top 24. And since then, a lot of good things have happened. I shot the 300 game last year on TV, won a tournament this year, and it's really been great. I'm glad I didn't quit, that's for sure.
Pete has persevered through the years, showing why he has been a leading money winner on the PBA National Tour.
It's going to be different when I'm in a position to win again, because I'm not going to have to feel all the pressure that I put on myself, that my friends have put on me about not winning. The press always, before, every time I won the press room, they said, okay, you won more money than anybody else hadn't won. You've got all these seconds. You know, is this going to be the week? Well, you know, you got to say, sure, I think this is going to be the week, but until you actually win it, you don't know. So I think when I'm in a position to win again is when the confidence is really going to come into play. You know, I'm still going to have bad weeks. It doesn't mean that I'm going to cash every week or I'm going to be a threat to win every week. I just think, as far as confidence goes, that I'll have the confidence when I'm in the position to win again.
Well, his confidence has to be riding high in lane. But when we come back, Mike Durbin will chat with our top seed, Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
Davis Cup Showdown. Baseball's AAA All-Star Game and Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Indoor football's Arena Bowl 88 and Wednesday night PBA Tour ads.
Mike Durbin back at Golden Pin Lanes, and with me is the tournament leader this week, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Walter, you've had enormous experience in horseshoe pitching. You've won 4 adult championships. You've won 3 junior championships. Has that experience helped you in the pressure situation on bowling on the PBA Tour?
Well, I don't know if it's helped, but it certainly hasn't hurt any to be in those pressure situations. I actually feel a little more pressure when I'm pitching horseshoes than I do bowling, but I definitely have a lot of pressure when I'm bowling in the title matches and stuff.
Another question I have. When you first came out on the tour, you used to loft the ball out on the lane. You didn't throw it real hard, and you hooked it quite a bit. Now you lay it down softly. You couldn't even break a plane of glass, and you throw it very straight. Why did you change?
Well, it was something gradual. The first year out, I did okay. I didn't make lots of money, but I made enough. And I found out that the couple of shows I made, I was throwing a ball fairly straight and hard, and I realized I just should try to do that more often. And it was something I gradually did over the years. And I also did have some problems there. One stretch of the winter tour, I wasn't getting very many checks, and I thought, this just isn't right. I got to do something about that.
Well, you did. It certainly worked out well for you, hasn't it?
It's worked out a lot better, I think.
All right. You've been a world champion. What sport do you prefer?
Well, even though I make a lot more money bowling, I do like horseshoes a little better.
One last question. Have you changed your philosophy in bowling from the top spot since you're 0-3 from that position?
Well, I never really had just a philosophy. Just go out and throw as many good shots as I can. Sometimes I just wasn't getting the good breaks, and hopefully tonight I can get those.
I hope you get them. Good luck to you.
Thanks.
Danny, he says he needs the breaks, but he's going to get them. Back to you.
Well, you said he's probably the best clutch player on the tour, but coming up next, Joe Salvemini with his back to you right there will match up with red-hot Pete McCordic. So, for goodness sakes, stay tuned.
Scores.
Match number 3, live and direct from Golden Pin Lanes. $140,000 Miller, Colorado Springs, Colorado, the only left-hander to survive to the final 5.
And he changed his finishing lane. He says, I'm not letting McCordic finish on that right lane. I'm no dummy.
Joe's got plenty of experience on the national tour. First shot a little slow of speed, and he paid dearly for it on lane 15.
Well, a 2-4-8, definitely a difficult spare, but always makeable, too. Be interesting to see if he plays this from the outside or whether he moves toward the center of the lane to play this.
Last 3 or 4 years have really been 1983. Finished second in the Firestone, or third rather, in the Firestone one year. The last couple of years, it's been a bit of a drought. Yep. That doesn't do him any good to start, so the confidence shaken a little bit, and to regroup here.
And he played it from the outside, just right around the second arrow on the left. Ball to back it back to cover that back pin.
Last thing in the world you want to do, too, when you haven't made a show in a while, is to go out and open in the first frame.
Especially when a guy's shooting 260.
Yeah.
Averaging almost 240.
And so the consecutive kid continues.
How many's he got on that low now? That's 15 then.
Yeah.
On the right line.
15 in a row.
15 in a row.
Yes, and of course he'll be buying a parcel of land here at Golden Pin Lanes from Pete Thomas, the general manager, in the near future. Pete will probably do all his practicing in Tucson from here on out. He's in dead stroke.
Only on lane 16.
Well, and for those of you out there, if Pete ever asks to bowl a match against any of you on lanes 15 and 16 here in Tucson, obviously you'll be turning him down. Of course, as of late, he's not done too bad on lane 15, and the high hit just barely misses carrying the 4.
And as we're sitting right behind again, every time he swings it right, wide, he goes high.
Thus far, Pete has earned better than $52,000 in 1988. $23,000.
Gorgeous trophy.
Second place worth $12,000, $7,500. For third place, $6,000 for fourth, and $5,000 for fifth. Thus, to update you, Pete McCordic defeated Kent Wagner in the opening game in a sudden death roll-off, 50-38, after the two had tied at 210 apiece. And then in game number 2, McCordic defeated Amleto Monacelli 268-194.
A better shot there.
It was funny, right at the beginning of the opening round of match play here this week, I sat down, I was watching Joe bowl, I think the first game of match play, and he came up to me and he said, Denny, I normally don't say things like this, but I'm really throwing the ball well, and I feel awfully good. He said, just hope I get a chance to see you guys on Wednesday night. So he had a premonition.
Well, he's been that type of bowler throughout his career that when he's throwing it well, he wins.
Well, he's led 3 tournaments and won 2 out of 3 from the top seed position. Beat Petraglia 1 year and also Cook 2. Both of those coming in 1983.
Oh, he gets a good break, trips the 6 out of there.
Whistle for the cave-in sounded.
He has that soft speed like McCordic, and sometimes that soft speed gets those pins falling a little easier. Salvemini on the left lane, the replay. Watch the 3-pin. Third from the right, goes to the wall, and gets the 6 and the 10.
McCordic on his favorite lane, and guess what? It's the same result. Geez, I've got an idea. We'll just have director Kent Samler, producer George Smith roll a replay every time on the right-hand lane of McCordic, and we won't miss anything.
I wonder if he's aware that he has that many strikes in a row on that lane. Or that just a kind of a vague feeling that, well, I like that one better. It carries better.
Well, let's see. Will Walter Ray let him finish on the right-hand lane?
Hey, he hasn't gotten there yet.
I know.
You know, he's ahead by just 1 pin, and he's got to carry some strikes on lane 15 here. Oh, I didn't know where I was watching the 10-pin all the way.
Mr. X. No, it's not Miller Barber. It's Pete McCordic here in Tucson. He's red hot, and Salvemini has his hands full. We'll be right back.
The British Open. See live coverage of this Grand Slam event beginning July 14th on the ESPN.
Joe Salvemini doing a little polishing up just to the left there. That handsome gentleman, Pete Thomas, the general manager here at Golden Pin Lanes. His lovely wife, Sandy. And just to the right, daughter Michelle, and you can't see son Michael. He's to the left, but he bowled this week in the tournament. Looking for 3 in a row, and Salvemini comes bouncing back.
Looks like the right lane hooks more on the left lane. I mean, on the left side. So I'll get my left to right here mixed up.
So the right-hand lane is hooking more for the left-hander.
And the right hand.
Right. See, it's very simple, Mike.
It just takes me a while to grasp these things. Right. 1 pin can take the lead for the first time right here. perfect.
A little crisper with that shot.
Well, the confidence is building now. This guy can throw some strikes.
Pete McCordic averaging 239 this evening on the television pair. Throughout the week, he averaged 225.
Trailing now for the first time in this match. He just throws it better and better and better on that lane. You know, the mark many times of the quality of a professional bowler is how he responds to these challenges. And you get these challenges thrown at you during the course of a game. That was one little mini challenge right now. He's bowling on his favorite lane, but he's trailing for the first time. And if he wanted to, he could let negative thoughts creep in, and he just won't do that.
There's no room for him anymore.
Into the hands. Hold!
Well, this has turned into a strike fest. X is dotting that scoreboard from start to finish thus far. McCordic with a big 268 last game, and he's heading in that direction here in game number 3.
Yeah, if they took it out the sheet, we got 279 to 280. Huh? That'd be exciting.
Could happen.
Well, yeah, that ball definitely right at target, and left only the 6. 8
might have stood. Of course, you've had plenty of experience on lanes 50.
At least twice, yeah.
One with the thumbs up, and the other when Ozio got you.
Yeah.
Of course, that was payback. Didn't you beat him?
I beat him. Well, I didn't beat him to win the title, but I beat him one of the matches. Yeah, that's true.
The tradition here in the summer tour in Tucson, yeah, it's just marvelous. The fans wait each and every year for the pros to come into town. They have a marvelous golf tournament for them and all sorts of special events. And Pete Thomas does a great job with the Pro-Am and hosting the professionals. And, of course, Pete, as Mike mentioned, a very fine professional in his own right, finished 4th in the Tucson Open back in 1969.
I was bowling it.
Where'd you finish?
In 1969, I don't remember where I finished.
It wasn't first, obviously.
I think it was 3rd.
Salvemini back to work now in the 7th. Trails by 12. To the wrong guy at this stage.
Ooh! Solid 8 penny. It was solid 6, solid 8. Still in the match, though.
First ever check for Joe Salvemini as a member of the Professional Bowlers Association came way back in 1980 when in California. So Miller tournaments have been good to Joe Salvemini through the years. There's the spare up. But when you leave a solid 8 against McCordic, you normally pay for it. McCordic leads by the unlucky number of 13, but the way things are going for Mr. McCordic, I don't think there is any such thing as...
To Coast Cycling, Saturday nights on the ESPN.
Only 103 degrees right now in Tucson. I wonder how warm it is in Riverside, California. We'll find out next week because that's where the summer tour heads. $130,000 Kessler Classic. And take a little nap because that one starts at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
I'll be ready for it. How about you?
I'll be ready. Are you kidding? We've got some great shows already this summer. Plenty of bowling left on ESPN.
McCordic trying for his 18th in a row on this right lane. And he finally loses it.
You know, Pete told me right in the commercial break he hates to be redundant. And, I mean, 17 in a row
is a little redundant.
That's just a tad redundant, don't you think? But in a nice kind of a way. Boy, what a streak on the right-hand lane. Well, Salvemini's probably thinking...
Hit it on the left there.
Shaky conversion, but when you don't shoot them very often.
Hey, this is still a tight match. We got 3 frames left. Only 12 pins separate these two bowlers. They're both throwing the ball into their 1-2 and 1-3 respective pockets. See who can come through when it counts. We know McCordic can. We'll see if Salvemini can. Hit Lite and threw 4 or 5 of them at that 7-pin. They all missed it.
Yep, the old double team, but it didn't work. By virtue of the 2 victories thus far this evening, McCordic now 8-19 on television.
Now watch as this ball comes in light. Got this left and it held. 1 pin, 5 pin, bouncing all around that 7-pin and nothing hits it.
Well, that 1 pin did a half gainer with a tough degree of difficulty. Cross lane spare, no problem for perfect Pete McCordic.
Almost perfect. It's only 11 pins though, Denny.
.247, a possibility for Joe Salvemini. He needs the last 5 though for that.
248 from McCordic. So.
And double pinochle, and you could see the minute he let it go that he was going to hook a little early.
And he holds his thumb and forefinger just apart a little bit to say, I missed by just that much. And that's all it took. He's playing wide of the second arrow. The speed just a hair softer right through the heart of the pins. When you throw that soft speed, you're always flirting with that. Gets 2 of them. But almost sealed his doom there with that shot. This 221. Oh, out the window. And that went almost out of bounds, Sergey.
Yeah, that's over the gallery and into the condos, basically.
I know what that feels like. Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if he was distracted on the way up or if
concentration. It was just the shot before, and he just didn't have himself together. He's going to try and make this probably by hitting back right in the 1-2 pocket. Kicks him out of there to make the conversion. Keeps himself alive. The lanes are extremely slick, right and left of respective first arrows. And he just gets it wide and down the lane. See, he's a little left of the second arrow there, but down the lane he gets out that out-of-bounds zone there.
7, but the other side of the coin, a strike once again for Pete McCordic on lane 16, and he leads by 27 and looking for more.
And for all intents and purposes, that locked up the match. He's got to show up for the 10th frame, but the best Salvemini can get is 211. McCordic, even if he opens, is going to be higher than that, assuming that he gets a decent count. That's it. Well, now we'll find out whether Walter Ray lets him finish on the right lane or not.
Well, last year, Mark McDowell started in the opening game and won 3 consecutive games and had a great match against top seed Scott Devers. Devers finally beating him in the 10th frame, and now McCordic has basically done the same thing here in 1988.
That confidence that Peter's bowling with right now, it's just an intangible thing. And remember, Walter Ray's 0-3 from the top spot.
Now McCordic starting to get zeroed in on the left-hand lane.
Yeah, he shot 300 on television before, didn't he?
He could do it again. Like a machine. Raising his average on the television pair.
He strikes here. He'll finish with 9 strikes in this game. There's the old solid 10.
Well, it had to happen sooner or later, but Pete McCordic is thankful that it happened on the final shot. So 247 after he's already shot 268 and 210, and he is 3-0 here in Tucson here in 1988. Joe Salvemini with a nice check, and a big week for him, I think, mentally, getting back into the thick of it, getting to the championship round, and feeling the heat of the competition. It's got to feel good.
Yeah, I'm sure it does feel good to him. He bowls in on the PTQ squads, the Rabbit squads, has to qualify to get into the main tournament every week. Now that he's made the telecast this week, he's exempt from PTQ next week. You know, he doesn't want to be in there on a steady diet. I know he was thinking win and get out of that PTQ.
Well, just trying to finish things out a little bit. And there you see old Deadeye. Next in line.
Two more outstanding players on the tour right now are going to go head-to-head. We're in for a treat in this title match.
Well, there's the handshake. And we'll go to break now. Don't forget, coming up, everything you'd ever want to know about bowling news here on ESPN. The bowling news. Hi, everybody, and as a result of last week's outstanding performance en route to capturing the Seattle Open, Tom Kreitz has been voted the Bowler of the Month for the month of June by the Bowling Writers Association of America. In the closest vote of the year thus far, the four-time PBA champion edged out veteran PBA Hall of Famer Dick Weber by a single point. Brian Alpert, a winner 2 weeks ago in Las Vegas, and probably the most consistent player of the month. Kreitz averaged 225 and beating 4 opponents, including a 276-202 victory over top seed George Branham III in the title game. In addition to the prize money that the PBA Touring Pros shoot for each and every week, there are also some special incentives offered by a number of different corporations. The Miller Brewing Company, for example, initiated the Miller Lite Performance Cup last year, and that was won by Marshall Holman. The 1988 race is even closer than a year ago. And keep in mind that at the end of the year, the bowler that ranks #1 is handed a check for $25,000. Players receive points for all performances ranging from a championship right down to 24th place. A regular tour victory is worth 60 points, while finishing 24th, the player would then add 1 point to his 88 total. This being a Miller-sponsored tournament, however, in Tucson, the points are doubled. So the winner in this year's Miller Lite Challenge will collect 120 points. Second place at the end of the season will pay an extra $15,000, while third place, well, that adds up to $10,000 more in 88 earnings. Believe it or not, this man, Sam Weinstein, better known as the 10-pin tattler, is now in the Guinness Book of World Records. Chicago's finest has been broadcasting bowling news in the Windy City for a record 53 years, and I hope it goes on for another 53. The only other country in the world that has a Professional Bowlers Association is Japan. And now each year, thanks to the Japan Cup, the best in the U.S. and the finest in the land of the rising sun meet head-on. This coming October, 16 of the top American pros will be shooting for nearly $50,000 in prize money. Japan will also enter its 16 best, which should provide for some excellent matches in Japan. And, of course, he will be returning this year to defend both of his titles. The tournament, which begins October 6th, will run elsewhere on the international front. The United States contingent is faring well in Manila, the Philippines. In the first International Youth Bowling Championships, Kim Terrell finished up a close second to Lisa Kwan in the singles event. The USA captured the doubles as Heather Holm and Donna DeTrani posted a first-place total of 22.88. In the men's doubles, Justin Romick and Danny Nadeau finished up atop the leaderboard, while Chris Carolina completed the U.S. 1-2 sweep of the doubles competition. Team USA member Kim Terrell finished first in the coveted all events. Kim averaged nearly 193 on a very tough international condition to capture the crown. Meanwhile, the USA women ended up second in the team event, losing to the host team by 65 sticks. Meanwhile, on the PBA regional circuit, out in the Midwest, Eric Banks of Chicago added yet another title to his regional credit, finishing up second in St. Charles, right-hander John Forst. Steve Ray ended up in the winner's circle down in the Great Southwest. For the victory, Steve collected $2,500, while Gary James of Houston finished up just off the pace. And they may not have professional baseball in St. Petersburg, But the PBA Regional Tour is flourishing in the Sunshine State. Steve Hoskins ended up atop the leaderboard, while Adam Colpin completed play in the number 2 position. And now it's time for my partner Mike Durbin to recap the action through 3 games thus far.
Mike Durbin right here, and in the first match, it looked like Pete McCordic was in a little bit of trouble. He started with a turkey and then had a split, strike, and then a missed 10-pin, and he really looked like he was in trouble then because Kent Wagner was striking at will. Turned out that first match turned into a tie. We had our first 9th and 10th frame roll-off that I can remember doing on ESPN. I can't remember doing any of them before. Turned out McCordic was just too tough. He never missed that right-hand lane. Wound up getting, 18 strikes in a row on it. And he won that first match, and that was kind of the
game number 1. And, of course, he went on to beat Monacelli, shot 268 that game, and then just polished off Joe Salvemini, shot 247 there. So McCordic right now is the player to be reckoned with, but I know that you have high expectations from Walter Ray Williams Jr. You claim he's probably the best player in the clutch right now on the PBA Tour.
I've just watched him so many times, Dan. When we have our match play finals, I've watched him in that 10th frame strike in crucial parts of the game, in the 10th frame when he needs it. I've watched him on television when he needs crucial shots. In fact, the only time I saw him fail to get that strike was last year at the Chicago at the World Open. If he'd have struck the first ball in the 10th, he'd have locked out Del Ballard, he'd have locked up Bowler of the Year, and won that tournament. He didn't get that strike. But that's the only time I've seen him fail.
Well, I hate to bring up a sore subject, but from the top seed position, you didn't exactly capture too many PBA championships. Walter Ray is 0-3, so you can relate to him at this point.
Well, it's difficult in that you've got to come right out striking from that top position. You don't have the luxury of feeling your opponent out, so to speak. You've got to come right out, especially he's bowling McCordic, and he knows McCordic's going to shoot 230 at least, so he's thinking in his mind he's got to have 240 to win.
Well, just in case you've just joined us, Pete McCordic's been astonishing on lane 16 here at Golden Pin Lanes in Tucson, Arizona. Here's a look at just one of the strikes. He had 18 consecutive X's on the right-hand lane, and it's been magic.
He's just been a machine with confidence. Long slide, good follow-through. Look at that follow-through. Ball one board right of that second arrow. He's been keeping it there all the time, finishing dead flush in the 1-3 pocket. It's just like a replay on that shot time after time after time.
Okay, just one more final question for you, Mr. Durbin, as we take a look at the reaction there. Not much of it from Pete McCordic. We've talked about Walter Ray's philosophy heading into the championship game. Now, Pete McCordic, a month ago, wins his first ever title. He is in the driver's seat, I would think, here. What's going through his mind? Is he going to win his second title in the last 6 weeks?
I think so, Dan. If I were Pete McCordic at this point, I would think right now I'm unbeatable.
Well, we'll find out. Stay tuned to ESPN. The top seed, Walter Ray Williams Jr., Old Deadeye, and Pete McCordic. He's been Mr. X here this evening in Tucson. Well, there's only 2 players left. The top seed, Walter Ray Williams Jr. and Pete McCordic. He started in the number 4 slot. He's won 3 consecutive games, averaged 241.6 in doing so, and Walter Ray is going to start the match on the left-hand lane.
And he changed his finishing lane from he was normally going to finish on the left lane. It's because McCordic. And I find it interesting, he changed balls also, Danny. There's a green ball on the rack that he was using in practice, and it was striking, it seemed like, every shot, and he switched to a blacker ball. Had to throw it harder. I'm assuming that black ball hooks more than the green, and he's trying to overcome the lane with speed.
Well, he told me he felt like the championship pair was hooking a little more than they did throughout the week, and maybe about what they were at night.
He used the green ball at night and just annihilated it. Yep. I don't understand why he switched balls.
Well, we mentioned he had thrown 18 consecutive strikes on the right-hand lane, and we were in air. He had 17, was going for 18, but he's picking up right where he left off.
The trouble is when you get that many, I can't count that.
Well, I was a bit delirious myself. We need to get the calculator out for McCordic.
We didn't need the calculator, as that graphic was showing, that how his number of wins on television are multiplying. It's like an exponential curve here.
And his biorhythms are out of sight right now.
Side. See, now, that was anxiety. The first time, a little chink in the armor there, the 3-6, 9-10. He sees that Walter Ray, or feels maybe that he's not going to bowl his A game, and he wanted to jump out ahead right away. This ball is left of target, left of that second arrow, and pointed up toward the nose. And he's got a tough spare now. Trouble. Held on.
Well, you've always told me, watch the follow-through, and that'll tell the story of where the ball goes. And that follow-through was dead left all the way rather than straight up over the top of his head like he has been doing.
Well, see, Pete in the top of his backswing sometimes has a tendency to have it bounce out away from his body, and that's what happened in that, but it was caused by anxiety.
Walter Ray trying to jump on the opportunity. Lots of speed and a big-time mistake in the second frame.
He's using the wrong ball, Denny. I can't believe it. Geez, at least that's my opinion, that he's using the wrong ball. The ball he's using hooks more, forces him to throw his hard shot.
Well, he is shaking right now. Staggering at this point. He's on the ropes, I would say, after 2 frames. Trails by 14.
It's interesting, these little decisions you make at the last minute sometimes. I know I made them. I'd switch from one ball to another at the last minute.
Well, they're field decisions, obviously. Lots of speed. And this time he strikes on the left-hand lane. And there's Mom looking on, and I think with nervous anticipation at this point.
McCordic has got the sense that he has an opportunity to knock out his opponent early in this match.
Of course, Pete finished second 6 times before he finally won the title. It's the 8th time he pulled for all of the wheat on the PBA Tour.
And he doesn't want to finish second again. The crowd's getting into it now, and they're shouting, Pete, Pete, Pete.
The winner collects $23,000. The loser, not quite that much, $12,000.
McCordic collected himself. This is a big shot, I think. He just wants to get out ahead. I mean, big lead right away. And he knows this is the... Gave it more room. Oh, perfect.
Well, McCordic starts to apply the vice grip to Walter Ray Williams, Jr. He leads by 24. Still lots
on running and racing. Your subscription awaits. Weekdays on ESPN.
Back to live action. Nice panoramic view of a beautiful trophy. But right now, Walter Ray trails by 24.
He wants that trophy. Better strike here. Oh, good shot. 4-pin all the way. Boy, is he throwing hard. Hard and straight.
Well, that's what he does best.
No, I think then what he does best, he does throw it straight best, but he does it better when he strokes it more than when he throws hard like this.
Well, when you throw hard, your carry obviously going to drop a little bit, isn't it?
Absolutely right.
It's been a terrific year for Walter Ray Williams, Jr. He, along with Pete Weber and Brian Boss, have made the championship round 6 times, and he made it 3 in a row to start the winter, made a couple back-to-back in the spring. He's a real streaky type of a player. When he gets it in the groove, he's tough to beat.
But he hasn't won.
Boy, he's been a bit unlucky. Solid 4-pin on the right-hand lane, a little bit of a shaker in the 7-pin stands, and boy, gotta be tough.
The way McCordic's going. At the 7-pin. Straight at it over the holes. McCordic's 25 ahead. Denny, if he strikes twice here, the match could almost be history.
Right now, Walter Ray's got to cross his fingers. And if you're Susie McCordic, you're doing the same, only you're asking for strikes.
She's got a good luck charm that she's holding or something. I can see it down here.
She must have quite a grip on it.
So his first errant shot on lane 16 in life for Walter Ray. Leaves only the 3-6-10. It's amazing opportunity for that title. It makes that span just get a little bit shorter. Needs a spare. Has it.
It's funny the way the thinking changes when it's for the title as compared to the semifinal game or the position round game to make it to the championship round.
Yeah, it sure can. Especially when you're ahead like that. Pete threw that shot defensively. Like a basketball team that's gotten ahead suddenly. He didn't keep the momentum going. Back in the pocket. Knocks out the 10.
Ray taking a little extra time.
Concentrating. Heels all the way back. Right heel off the back of the approach. He's getting into the match a little bit more with each shot, Danny. McCordic hasn't put him away, and McCordic may live to regret that.
What about the difference, Mike, in bowling, just the one game for the title and winning a game or two before you get to the title match? And Walter Ray's 0-3, and McCordic obviously hasn't done too well from the top seed position either.
Well, obviously, I think the advantage is with the guy coming up. He's got that momentum going, has the lanes figured out, has the confidence built up, has every advantage going for him. For the double. Doesn't get the wall shot.
The 7-pin wiggled a little bit. Walter Ray can't believe it, and 2 straight 7-pins on lane 15, and he's thrown it well enough to have a 4-bagger here instead. He's just kind of putting along.
But again, he's forcing it, man. Yep. He's just forcing that speed.
Still 22 pins of a lead for McCordic, and he could make it 32 if he strikes here.
See if he throws more aggressive shot in this right lane this time. Right there. Oh!
He's getting wider and wider with it, isn't he?
But he kept that elbow in tight and that swing right straight through the target line. Just trusted it all the way. Perfect shot.
Don't forget, coming up at the conclusion of the $140,000 Miller Lite Challenge, Sports Center live and direct from Bristol.
Up by 32, can make it 42 and almost bury Walter Ray with one more. Right there. Solid 8 was standing for a brief second. Walter Ray asking for a re-rack on lane 16.
215 would be the best possible score for Walter Ray if he'd finished with the last 5.
Pete McCordic is going at a 227 pace right now. He has to strike out and hope something bad happens to McCordic, and you're in that situation, it's not good. That makes it total history.
Yep. Boy, oh boy, you lead all week long, never lower than 5th throughout this entire event. Battled all day yesterday and came down to the last 3 or 4 games, and he edged out Salvemini to get the top seed position. And boy, in one game, how quickly your fortunes can change on the PBA Tour.
Well, all I can think is, as far as his thinking of choosing the ball that he did, was that he felt with that green ball that he wasn't able to shoot the 230, and that maybe he could do it with this ball, knowing that McCordic was going to shoot a big game.
Well, at this point in time, he's all but given up, just pretty much going through the motions.
Yeah.
And boy, you hate to see something like that happen in a championship game. A guy just bowls his heart out all week long, but sometimes it just happens that way. Somewhere else along the way, Walter Ray will pick one up. Hold dead-eye.
Dead-eye, well, a quality player like Walter, it's just, it is unfortunate that he just couldn't get into the groove.
Pete McCordic wasting little or no time now.
That pretty much sums it up right there on the right-hand lane. And there you see
An excited Pete McCordic, who has now won his second career PBA championship, and
22 out of 24 in that right lane.
This guy may never lose again.
Well, we talked at the top of the show about how his confidence was up there.
2 years ago, Dave Husted started low in this event, came all the way up, won all those matches, averaged better than 250 for the championship round, and captured the Miller Lite Challenge. And this time it's Pete McCordic out of Houston, Texas. The last couple of years, this guy has been amazing, and I think Susie approves of the effort tonight.
And even though Pete McCordic has only won $70-some thousand now after this win, he's going to be with 2 titles, you know, and the rest of the year to go. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with Bowler of the Year. He could win 2 or 3 more as good as he's going.
I don't think there's any question about
championship round, and he's been dynamite. So they're chanting, Pete, 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 and McCordic wins again. And I think he's got it down pat, Mike.
He says this is a lot more fun than finishing second.
Spent all those years finishing second, and he's figured it out. And so is Walter Ray on the right-hand lane. And don't fret about Mr. Williams, because he'll be back. He's having a banner year. And here's another guy that's right in the thick of the Bowler of the Year race.
Well, he's got to win, though.
Well, I think it's a definite possibility. Just think 3 weeks from now, we'll be at the Hammer Open in Edmond, Oklahoma. He's won there 2 consecutive years. He may make it 3 in a row down there.
That's true.
How easy they fall when it doesn't count.
Amazing. One more and he shoots 180. And even though it wasn't McCordic, provided an outstanding performance for the entire evening.
It's amazing. Whoever has started in the number 4 or 5 slot has now won 9 championships in the top seeds and won only 8 this year.
I don't think they've won any this summer, have they?
Nope.
0 for the summer, 0 for 4. So it's 236 to 180. There you see Pete McCordic wishing that Walter Ray could have bowled a little bit better. But nevertheless, he is the winner. Nice hug from Susie. And, geez, I wonder who will get the most of that $23,000 first place check. We'll be back to chat with our winner and have the trophy presentation out. Tucson, Arizona. And, this is a hot approach here, Mike Durbin. Pete McCordic
made it hot.
Unbelievable on the right-hand lane. At one point in time, 17 consecutive strikes on the right-hand lane. But let's take a look at the action in the opening game when he had to go into overtime to defeat Kent Wagner.
Pete McCordic, who never missed the right lane in the opening game, throwing a strike on that particular lane. Lane 16 here at Golden Pin Lanes. All of these looked almost like a replay. This particular one was a wall shot, but he won that overtime victory 50 to 40 over Kent Wagner, and that was the catalyst that got him going.
That's right, 210 apiece. Some excellent bowling in the opening game, and then, of course, the overtime, and that provided the impetus to take on Amleto Monacelli. Amleto, with a sore thumb, obviously didn't bowl as well as he could have, but McCordic shot 268 in game number 2.
Well, in all respect to Amleto, I think his thumb could have been perfect, and he wouldn't have beaten Pete tonight because McCordic just couldn't miss on lane 16, and he didn't miss very often on lane 15 in that second game. 268, it's hard to beat at anything.
In the second game, Joe Salvemini was the next victim for McCordic, who basically slowed down and, geez, only shot 247 in the semifinal game.
Oh, he was easy then, huh? Right.
This was the first of 3 consecutive strikes in game number 3, and boy, this guy gets boring after a while, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, as you said, he's just going to practice on lane 16 for the rest of his career here.
I think it's a possibility. I've heard a rumor that Pete McCordic will be buying lane 16 here in Tucson in the near future. And when we come back, of course, we'll chat with Pete McCordic and ask him whether or not maybe he is going to move to Tucson because he won the Miller Lite Challenge. So stay tuned, everybody.
A new Kodacolor Gold.
And it's raining in Tucson, Arizona. Raining applause for the Miller Lite Challenge champion, Pete McCordic. And I called you redundant up there, Pete. I hope you don't mind. But 17 strikes in a row in the right-hand lane.
Well, yeah, I was kind of zeroed in on it. It seemed like all I had to do is make a good shot. The ball would go in the pocket, and I carried really good on that lane. It was just one of those things where the more I bowled on it, the more relaxed I became, and I was looking forward to get back up on that lane.
All those instant replays, you had Durbin and I confused as well.
Well, lane 15 was a little bit trickier. I had to be a little bit more careful with my speed. The ball would go light if I got a little hard. If I softened up, the ball would hook a little too much. I mean, it was almost like work on 15. You know, it was. But if I made good shots on 15, the ball reacted. The thing with 15 though was the carry was a little bit tougher. There was some 10 pins. The first match with Kent Wagner. If any of us carry, you know, if he carries a 10 pin there, he wins the match, and maybe he's standing here now.
All right, let's bring in Mr. John Beck, representing the Miller Brewing Company, with a marvelous trophy for Pete McCordic.
Pete, on behalf of the Miller Brewing Company, I'd like to first congratulate you on winning the Miller Lite Challenge, your second tour victory after waiting 15 years. Also, Pete, this puts you in third position in the 50,000 Miller Lite Performance Cup. In recognition of this, I'd like to present you with the Winged Victory Championship Trophy.
Thank you. All right. Now we're going to bring in the general manager of Golden Pin Lanes, Mr. Pete Thomas, who has a rather large check for you.
Pete, congratulations. On behalf of Golden Pin Lanes, I'd like to congratulate you. You bowled beautiful today.
Thank you.
260, 240, 230. Boy, that's the best I've ever seen. And I'd like to present you this big check for $23,000 to put in your trophy case. Also, with it, a check for $23,000. The real money goes to your lovely wife. Sorry about that.
Well, Pete would know. Your response, Mr. McCordic, to the money and the beautiful trophy?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank John Beck and all the people at Miller. They've supported the professional bowlers for a long time, and I really appreciate the trophy, and all the bowlers appreciate what Miller's done for the professional bowlers. Also, I'd like to thank Pete Thomas, the general manager here at Golden Pin. We've been coming here quite a few years, and even though I've never been that successful here, this year kind of made up for it, and it hadn't been his fault that I didn't do well before.
Well, one Tucson Open champion to another. Mike Durbin, a question for Pete, and we don't have much time.
Well, real quick, I know that you won 2 now. Now that you've broken the barrier and going on, thinking of 3 already?
Well, we'll have to wait till next week, and maybe the week after that. It's just a matter of when I'm bowling good. If I feel like I'm bowling good and I get in stroke, it's possible, yeah.
Anything's possible, so don't forget to join us next week from Riverside, California. Congratulations for Mr. Pete McCordic. Thanks for joining us here this evening.